All right, so welcome back, Len, to the Zoom room for second part of today's session. We're going to do some text tonight. Have a look at section 3 of chapter 11, which is entitled "The From Darkness to Light." Okay, so I'll share my screen with you. So from darkness to light, about 8 paragraphs, I think. So let's read the okay, here we go. Okay, so you can read the first paragraph in the
Is that
original.
both of them or both? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Do both.
Yeah. When you are weary, remember you have hurt yourself. When I am weary, I remember I have hurt myself. Your comforter will rest you, but you cannot. The comforting remembrance of perfect love will rest me, only I cannot.
But I cannot will make it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do not know how, for if you did, you could never have grown weary. There we are. I do not know how, for I could never have grown weary if I did. Unless you hurt yourself, you could never suffer in any way, for that is not God's will for his Son. Unless I hurt myself, I could never suffer in any way, for that is not the perfect love's awareness for its extension. Pain is not of him, for he knows no attack, and his peace surrounds you silently. Pain does not know of it, for it knows no attack, and its peace surrounds me silently. God is very quiet, for there is no conflict to him. Pure formless awareness of perfect love is very quiet, for there is no conflict in it. Conflict is the root of all evil, for being blind it does not see whom it attacks. Conflict is the root of all evil, for being blind it does not see whom it attacks. Yet it always attacks the Son of God, and the Son of God is you. Yet it always attacks the extension of perfect love, and the extension of perfect love is me.
Okay, and from the top, an alternative.
Yeah. When I am weary, I will remember that I have hurt myself. The comforting remembrance of perfect love will rest me, but I cannot. I do not know how, for I could never have grown weary if I did. Unless I hurt myself, I could never suffer in any way, for that is not perfect love's awareness for its extension. Pain does not come from it, for it knows no attack, and its peace surrounds me silently. Pure formless awareness of perfect love is very quiet, for there is no conflict in it. Conflict is the root of all evil, for being blind it does not see whom it attacks. Yet it always attacks the extension of perfect love, and the extension of perfect love is me. It's just
Okay.
letting us
Summary of
know
that.
that, yeah, it's just letting us know that when we're weary, we have to know that we've hurt ourselves. So we need to rest in comfort in the remembrance of perfect love. But we don't know how. Otherwise, we wouldn't have grown weary. So it's saying we could never suffer, because that is not perfect love's awareness for its extension. So there's no pain comes from that. It's got peace surrounding it. It's very quiet. There's no conflict. The conflict that we suffer is the root of all evil, because we're blind. It doesn't see who it's attacking. But it's always attacking the perfect love. Yeah.
Remember, any conflict, any attack attacks that state of mind. The state of pure formless awareness is denied by any attack thought. So that's why all attack is self-attack. Because the moment you think an attack thought towards anyone or anything, you are attacking that fundamental awareness that you are. And you're saying, no, I'm not that awareness. I prefer to be this other awareness, which is now capable of attack. And of course, then fear, attack and fear, guilt and sin, they all go together. It's one thought system, which is why all attack is self-attack. It's so evident. And when you explain it like that, it's so self-evident. But you think we'd and more people would understand it, but it's not very well known at all. Most people have no idea. They think that when you attack another, you're not attacking yourself, you're attacking them. Because that's what it appears to be. But actually, you're attacking your own state of mind in the attack on them, which is why you're actually attacking yourself. You attack your own fundamental awareness, which is why attack never works. Attack always engenders more attack, fear, and you only have to look at areas of the world, like say the Middle East, the whole Israeli-Palestinian Arab conflict. Attack breeds what? More defense, more attack. And that can go on for generations, for thousands of years, as it has in that part of the world. We watch the Chosen. See, even in Yeshua's times, there was a schism, and he went into areas where they weren't Jews, they were Samaritans and other tribes. And there was conflict between the Jews and the other tribes. So it's not exactly new, is it? This has been going on for 2,000 years and more, probably even longer. Because attack and conflict just breeds more of the same, which is why he says it's the root of all evil. Being blind, it does not see whom it attacks. So the root of all evil is the conflict in your mind between the ego, the idea of separation and a separate self, and the Holy Spirit being the representative of pure formless awareness of perfect love. It's that conflict that's the root of all evil. That idea of that you can actually attack and destroy God. That conflict in our mind is the root of all evil. And then that manifests in conflict in the world, which is why the world is such a conflicted place. Conflict-ridden place. Okay? Happy with number one. Let's go into number two then.
Is that in both or?
Yeah, just read it in both. It gives me time to fit it. I haven't this one properly, so I just need to. Gives me the time to do that.
God's Son is indeed in need of comfort, for he knows not what he does, believing his will is not his own. The extension of perfect love is indeed in need of comfort, for she knows not what she does, believing her awareness is not her own.
Yeah, I think let's read that again. Change the her to not its. So remember, we're trying to degender, no gender in this. So just read that again. I've just changed it.
The extension of perfect love is indeed in need of comfort, or it knows not what it does, believing its awareness is not its own. The kingdom is his, and yet he wanders homeless. The state of pure formless awareness is mine, and yet it wanders homeless.
Yeah, yet I wander homeless. So we'll make it personal there. I think the first one is useful because it's the whole extension, and then we personalize it, so it becomes much more practically applicable. State of pure formless awareness is mine, and yet I wander homeless. So the state is available, and yet I seem to be homeless in this world. I seem to be wandering around, not knowing who I really am, not knowing what I'm really doing here. And we've all had that feeling, haven't we? What am I even doing here? What is this place?
Oh, yes.
What am I even doing here? What's this place really all about? I don't feel connected to it. And even my son at the age of 9, he's saying, like, I don't really belong here. So it's you know, it's from a young age. We can feel that sense of disconnection. Like,
That's true.
I don't really fit. I don't really belong. I think we've all felt it, especially if you're on this path. You certainly have felt it. You wouldn't be on this path.
Yeah. And still do. I still do.
And so that sense of being an alien here, alienated and disconnected, is what is how the call works. That's what calls us to awaken. If you didn't have that sense of alienation, then you'd feel right at home here and you'd carry on. But at some point, everyone feels that. They're honest, they will feel that. And they probably recognize that they've always felt that. They just haven't been honest enough to admit it.
Or people get diverted in all their activities.
Yeah, and what we do is we use those activities to cover over the sense of being homeless and alienated. So we keep ourselves very busy because it stops us thinking too much and really dwelling on the sense of alienation and being kind of lost and homeless and abandoned. We all know that feeling. It's not a nice feeling. It's like, you know, what am I even doing here? Why do I even live here? I'm feeling disconnected. I'm feeling abandoned. I'm feeling lonely. We don't like that feeling. So most people cover it over with many activities. Okay, well, if I go and play golf, or I watch some TV, or I surf the internet, or I read a book, or I go shopping, or I have sex, or I drink alcohol, or I do drugs, or I, you know, whatever the distraction is, it'll cover that over. It'll give me something to do to kind of cover over that feeling of alienation. But if we're courageous, we face it. We go, okay, so let's go into that feeling and really experience it fully, so that we can be aware of exactly what, you know, the ego is and what it does. And then we can make a decision in our conscious awareness to say, no, this is not what I want. The sense of being homeless and alienated and abandoned and unloved and unlovable. No, this is not the truth of me. I choose to go home, and I choose to find another way to live. But you have to kind of face the darkness first to do that, which is what the theme of this section is, you know, moving from the darkness to the light. Okay, you want to carry on? Number 3.
Yeah. At home in God, he is lonely, and amid all his brothers, he is friendless. At home in pure formless awareness of perfect love, I am lonely, and amid all my companions,
I am friendless.
I am friendless. Would God
We
let
all
this
know that sort of that feeling, you know, so we've got all these companions and we can feel quite alone. You know, ironically, loneliness is probably more of a problem in really populated cities.
It's true.
There's millions of people around, people all around you, and yet you can feel, you know, very alone and friendless despite that. Okay, carry on, number 4.
Would God let this be real when he did not will to be alone himself? Would pure formless awareness of perfect love let this be real when it did not will to be alone itself? And if your will is his, it cannot be true of you, because it is not true of him. And if my awareness is perfect love's, it cannot be true of me, because it is not true of pure formless awareness of perfect love. So, to read that.
On the top.
Yeah. The extension of perfect love is indeed in need of comfort, for it knows not what it does, believing its awareness is not its own. The state of pure formless awareness is mine, and yet I wander homeless. At home in pure formless awareness of perfect love, I am lonely, and amid all my companions, I am friendless. With pure formless awareness of perfect love, let this be real, when it did not will to be alone itself. And if my awareness is perfect love's, it cannot be true of me, because it is not true of perfect love. So yes, it's, yeah. So while we're in the separate self, you know, we're always going to feel this homeless, friendless feeling. So if we contact the perfect love that's in us, then there's where our comfort is. So we're just wandering around homeless in a separate state. We're in our true state of pure formless awareness, then we will not feel lonely, or just feel perfect love.
I think he's speaking to, you know, to everyone on a deep level here, because we've all felt this. Yet I wander homeless. I'm lonely, despite the fact that I'm surrounded by companions. It's the modern stress and loneliness are probably the two biggest modern diseases of the mind. And obviously they're connected. Because the more alone you feel, the more stressed you feel. The more fearful. Stress is just another word for fear. So the more alone you feel, the more fearful you feel, don't you? Because if I'm all alone, how am I going to cope?
Yeah, that's true.
So they go hand in hand. Kind of disconnection and alienation. It characterizes modern society, and high stress levels go together. By contrast, if people live in very connected families and communities, they've shown that's a huge help for stress, you know, much lower stress levels, much lower stress-related illnesses, better health, longer lifespan, you know, all these kinds of things. You know, they do studies on longevity. And the people who live longest on the planet are those who live in these very often quite simple, connected communities. So they live in a village and they've got family and friends around them. They feel connected and part of that community their entire life. They never feel that sense of alienation.
Yeah, no, I
and
know some
loneliness
people
and
like
abandonment.
that. Yeah. They've got their family next door and they're very close, and they've got a belief in religion or whatever.
Mm,
And they do, yeah, they're as best life you can get, really. Yeah, because they
mm,
look out for one another. But it's not many.
mm. Sadly, yeah, in modern society, it's more about the disconnection. We live in big cities. Some people barely know their neighbors. They live as a family unit, but the family can feel quite isolated from other people, and not really connected into a larger community, and that breeds stress.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, fear and stress are synonymous. Stress is just the perception of some kind of external threat, which is fear. And the more alone you feel, the more you're going to be prone to fear, because if I'm all alone, what can I rely on? I'm just little me, and now there's this big bad world out there, and there's all these things that could hurt me. And if I feel like I'm alone and I can't, I've got no support, then I can't handle that. And that's what he's pointing to. Yeah, it's a modern plague, really, of feeling disconnected from our source. That's where it starts, and then we feel disconnected from others, even if we live in communities or big cities, and that breeds stress, which is fear, and then the ego is in charge. If you're living primarily in a stressed state, and you feel this kind of alienation, then the ego is in charge of your mind and your life, and the consequences of that state are not good at all. We know that stress leads to disease. It shortens lifespan, and it really is not helpful at all for our state of mind, our quality of life. Okay, so let's move on to number 3, shall we?
Yeah. Oh, my child, if you knew what God wills for you, your joy would be complete. Oh, my companion, if you knew what pure formless awareness of perfect love wills for you, your joy would be complete. And what he wills has happened, for it was always true. And what it wills has happened, for it was always true. When the light comes and you have said, God's will is mine, you will see such beauty that you will know it is not of you. When true awareness comes and joy have said, the pure formless awareness of perfect love is mine, you will experience such beauty that you will know it is not of you. Out of your joy you will create beauty in his name, for your joy could no more be contained than his. Out of your joy you will extend beauty through its awareness, and joy could no more be contained than its.
So remember, we're trying to personalize it. I don't know why it hasn't done it, because I asked
Oh yeah, right.
ChatGPT to do it, but it hasn't. So make it personal in the alternative.
Yeah.
So out of my joy, I'll extend beauty through its awareness, for my joy could no more be contained than its.
So the bleak little world will vanish into nothingness, and my heart will be so filled with joy that it will be filled with joy that it will leap into the state of pure formless awareness and into the presence of perfect love. I cannot tell you what this will be like, for your heart is not ready. I cannot tell myself
Yeah, and number 6.
Yeshua cannot tell me what this will be like, for my heart is not ready. Yet he can tell me and remind me often that what pure formless awareness of perfect love experiences for itself, it experiences it for me. And what it experiences for me is mine.
Yeah, from the top in the alternative.
Oh, my companion, if I knew if I only knew what pure formless awareness of perfect love wills for me, my joy would be complete, and what it wills has happened, for it has always been true. When true awareness comes and I have said, the pure formless awareness of perfect love is mine, I will experience such beauty that I will know it does not come from me. Out of my joy, I will extend beauty through its awareness, for my joy could no more be contained than its. The bleak little world I have made will vanish into nothingness, and my heart will be so filled with joy that it will leap into the state of pure formless awareness and the presence of perfect love. Yeshua cannot tell me what this will be like, for my heart is not ready. Yet he can tell me and remind me often that what pure formless awareness of perfect love experiences for itself, it experiences for me, and what it experienced for me is mine. So it's sort of pleading to us to get to know this pure formless awareness of perfect love, because it wills us joy and to make us complete.
Yeah,
It's
if I only
ours.
knew. So if you only knew, what awaits you.
Yeah.
You would just be so happy and joyful. And so he does know, because he's in that state. He's like, you have no idea how happy and joyful you can be when you've dropped your ego. So he's encouraging us from that state, saying, come on, there's something completely amazing, what you've always yearned for is available and accessible, and I'll show you how to attain it. Just follow my guidance. And this, I like the description of the bleak little world. The bleak little world I've made, because it's a world based on littleness. And the bleakness inevitably always comes back. We have times when we go, well, it's okay, but then the bleakness returns, because the problem is nothing here lasts. So sooner or later, everything dies and fades away. And then, when we face that apparent loss of whatever we loved and cherished and valued, then the bleakness returns, because we realize that it's a fool's paradise. Nothing here lasts very long at all. Whatever we cherish here will ultimately fade away and die. So why do we cherish it then? So if it's going to fade away and die, why do we do that? It's only because we disconnected from our real source, from who we really are, and from true reality, and then we think this is all there is. We think this is the only reality we have, and so we try and grasp for whatever we can get from it. Well, if I can get some pleasure, some comfort, something that brings me some kind of temporary satisfaction, then that's the best I can hope for. That's what the ego tells us. But it denies this fundamental joy, the joy of being who we really are in a state of pure formless awareness. And it tries to keep us as far away from that state as possible. But he's reminding us, saying, but you don't know what you're missing. This is completely mind-blowing and amazing. This is like, if you look at the best thing the ego can offer as a substitute for that would be, say, taking a drug like heroin, and you get, completely, the first time you take it, apparently it's incredible, because you go into the state of pure formless awareness for a short time, for as long as the drug lasts.
Yeah.
And then of course it doesn't last, so you come down, and then you got to take the drug again, and then drug addiction, and heroin's highly toxic. So generally, once you start on heroin, within a few years you're dead, almost inevitably. It's very addictive. So the best the ego can offer, alternative to heaven, is that. And then of course, because it's egoic, it leads very quickly to the destruction of the body. The death of the body is will inevitably occur if you follow that path, and you don't get off it. But that state of pure awareness that it induces, that is attainable without a drug. You don't need heroin to do that. You can attain it by these spiritual practices, by disciplining your mind, meditation, breath work, forgiveness, letting go. You can actually enter that state. It's called samadhi. And the mystics and the gurus and the saints, can do that, and they can stay there for hours, sometimes days, weeks, months even, in a state of samadhi, which is a state of of pure bliss. So even in this world, it's possible but the key to that is the mental discipline, to discipline your mind to attain that. The problem with heroin is there's no discipline involved. You just take the drug and shoot it. It's like, so you're cheating, aren't you? It's like, no, you've got to actually find the way into that. Pathway is in your mind. There's a way into that, but you have to find your way there. You can't just take a chemical and flood your body with the chemicals and do it artificially.
Well, some people do that ayahuasca. What's that ayahuasca? That can induce the feeling of pure formless awareness, of perfect love. Some people do purging. That ayahuasca.
Yeah. Well, ayahuasca, I haven't done it, so I haven't really embarked on the drug path, because I've seen the downsides of it. I have a friend who's got into it, and to be honest, he's just an addict. Well, yeah, he started with ayahuasca, but then he at the ayahuasca ceremony, someone offered him marijuana.
Right.
And so he started smoking, and now he's addicted to that, so he does that every night. And that's just pure pleasure seeking. I said, why do you do it? He said, because it feels good. I'm like, but then is that spiritual, or you just, now it's more of the pleasure seeking of the ego, isn't it? Oh, well, that feels good, so I'll smoke dope every night, and I'll get stoned, and I'll feel like relaxed and chilled. But actually, I'm just using the body. I'm misusing it for pleasure.
Right.
It's not really. And he's saying, oh, well, it's all about the correct. It's all about spirituality, and it's not really. I mean, because he said to me, it's just because I like to get high and I like the feeling. Well, that's just seeking pleasure.
Yeah.
So what started as some kind of spiritual, ayahuasca, potentially there's a validity there. if it's done right, it's a whole ceremony, and it takes you deep into your own mind. And apparently it's quite tough. It's not pleasurable. You go through a
I've
whole lot
heard,
of purging, vomiting,
yeah, I've
but
heard.
it can lead to some profound realizations and
Right.
awakening, and
Yeah.
a shift in the ego. It can do that. So it's like a plant medicine. It's part of healing.
Yeah.
So I get that potentially that could work, and there are people who follow that and they have got benefit. But there's
Yeah.
always a downside with whenever you use substances. There's this downside of like, well, now maybe you get addicted to the substance and you think it's the substance that's doing it. And obviously once, as in his case, once you open up to the idea of using substances, then well, what's to stop you using another substance? As he did. Oh, well, if I'm open to ayahuasca, I'll be open to smoking some dope. And then he gets addicted to it, and then it's not helpful. His addiction is I don't think is serving him, although he's convinced him it is. He convinced himself it is. It doesn't. No addiction serves you. And interesting, I listened to a guy called Graham Hancock. Have you heard of him? He was an author. He is an author, and he's written some of these books about ancient civilizations and civilizations on Mars and all that kind of stuff. So he was like, well, I was a heavy dope smoker, and then I went and I did ayahuasca, and he said the ayahuasca actually got him off the dope. Interesting, because he said I got a huge lesson from Mother Ayahuasca. He said, and it was very clear to me in that ayahuasca trip, if you like, that the smoking marijuana was not helping me and I needed to stop. And he did. And they've actually found that ayahuasca can get people off things like heroin and cocaine and hard drugs as well, because it's healing. So it's not quite the same as say a pure pleasure seeking drug. So there's possibly some benefit to it, but I've never done it because I'm like, well, do I really need it? If you have the Holy Spirit and you have these teachings and you have the remembrance of perfect love of the Holy Spirit guiding you, do you really need a substance to facilitate? You've got the breath. I've used breath work. You've got meditations. You've got all of these lessons. And if you needed to do ayahuasca to awaken, then Yeshua would have told us, but you don't.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not necessary. So, rather focus then on a path, and the Course in Miracles is a path, and it doesn't involve using anything but your own mind and your willingness to learn these lessons and practice it, which I like. It keeps it very simple, and it avoids any of the potential downsides of using substances. Okay. So that's we discussed that one. Yeah. So he's just really giving us a taste of heaven there and saying, if you only knew what lies in store for you, you wouldn't hesitate. You would say, take me. I'll follow your guidance, Yeshua. I'll listen to you all the way, because the state is of complete joy is so mind-blowingly amazing compared with the bleak little world we've made, that it's not even a comparison. There's no competition, and even a little glimpse of that is enough to inspire us and encourage us to carry on. Just a little taste of it. I had a little smidgen of a taste when I had my sort of mystic experience of the 9-day meditation retreat. It wasn't very long, maybe a few minutes, I don't know, because I lost all sense of time, but it was enough to go, whoa, that's just the foretaste. Imagine what the whole thing is like. Imagine being in that state, completely immersed in that state forever, in the state of absolute pure awareness and bliss. It was amazing. And in that state, I was completely free. All of the entanglements of this world, all of the problems just dropped away. And I was completely free in my true awareness for that, brief period. And that's enough to, that's kept me going for years. It's inspired me to, to
Yeah,
do this
that's
work
good.
and start the course. And because you're like, well, that is what we're all seeking. We're looking for that joy, as he calls it. The joy of being in our true state is incomparable. That's the ultimate human experience, which will ultimately take us beyond the human experience. While we're here, we can experience it. And so dedicating your life to that purpose, to attaining that state, helping others to attain that state is, that's the only worthy purpose. This is the only state where you're going to be problem-free, where there's no suffering, and where you're at home. The journey's then complete. There's nothing left to do once you attain that state.
Sounds bliss.
Yeah. It was for that brief time. And then you come back and you're like, oh.
But at least though you still
back in the body, dealing with my life.
I mean, while I'm in the body, it's very temperamental. There's no doubt about it, because you will get days where you do get that peace and stillness and quietness. I mean, I haven't never had a satori moment, but I'm still happy to just have that peace of, from the usual chaotic needs of the ego. It's just never ending. So when you do get even, that I'm just happy just to have the peace. I don't have the satori moment. I'm just happy to have the peace.
Well, I mean, that's pretty good. What I experienced was just pure peace, really, if you want to describe it as that. It was just.
But some people say that it's a feeling of oneness, that all of a sudden everything, everything that they see, every person, even the bird poo on the ground, it's just a state of pure oneness and just this magnificent feeling experience. So I haven't had that. I wouldn't say it's that. It's just like a peace, just a quiet,
peace,
pleasant peace. Yeah, I certainly have experienced that, and that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, and that's a little taste. That's a foretaste of this.
Yes.
Of awareness, this what he calls joy, and I capitalize it because it's this. The joy is the peace, is the state of pure formless awareness. It's this top level domain. The
vibrant peace, like a vibrant peace,
vibrantly alive peace. Is joy
for no reason. You can just get it for no reason.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just an ordinary day. Yeah.
Because there doesn't need to be a reason for peace. You just need to accept who you are. Your natural state is joyful and peaceful. That's just who we are.
And I do get that. I do get that. Yeah. So it is.
Well, if you're experiencing that peace, that's a taste. That's a foretaste of any positive state in this world is a little glimpse of heaven.
Right. It's a pity we couldn't feel like that all the time.
Well, he's saying you can, but it takes great effort and willingness.
Yeah.
To do that. It's not in this world because of all the challenges that the ego has invented. It takes a lot of willingness to maintain that.
Yeah, you can't force it, because you think, well, look, the other week I had great peace that particular afternoon or whatever. It's not something I can force. You can't force it. Yeah, it's.
Yeah, the answer is to keep letting go. If you're not in that state, then keep forgiving, letting go, and that peace will come from letting go. Because if there's nothing else, and you've removed all the blocks to the awareness of peace, then what's left is peace.
Yeah.
So he's saying to us, there's only one thing you have to do, and that's to let go.
Yeah, that's the big one.
That's all. That's all we have to do.
Yeah.
And every spiritual practice, if you really look at it, is just helping us to let go. That's all it's doing.
Forgive,
So whether it's a meditation, or it's breath work, or it's maybe fasting as a spiritual practice, or abstaining from taking drinking alcohol or drugs, or things like yoga, and other body modalities. Really, all of it, if you look at it correctly, is designed to help you to let go of a part of your ego.
Yeah.
And the more that it does that, the more healing it is, the more transformational it is. So letting go is healing, and then all these modalities and techniques fit within that. They're all actually designed to help you to let go of your ego identification. So they're not really separate. They actually fall under the umbrella. It took me quite a while to realize this, because forgiveness is just another technique. But no, actually forgiveness, or letting go, is what the spiritual path is all about. That's the one way that you will get back to God, and there's no other way.
And that's how
and then
all
the
these
various
other
techniques and paths will help you to let go in different ways. And you have to find the techniques and the path that works for you to help you to let go most effectively.
Yeah.
So, do you have a question? What did you say?
Well, I mean, I find it helps if you've got nurturing friends that are like-minded. That can help you get to that peace. Whereas your average ego friend like Sally does the opposite.
Yeah, so that can be helpful. They say in the Buddhist practice. So when I went into the meditation retreat, they make you take 3 kind of vows. They say, I give myself to, I commit to Dhamma, which is the truth. I commit to Buddha, which is awakening to the truth. And I commit to Sangha, which is the community of truth. So it's the people who are on the same path, your mighty companions on the same journey.
That helps me. Yeah, that
support
does help
you
me.
and
That helped me more.
nurture you.
Yeah. Whereas I'm still, like I say, flip-flopping from Sally's to say yourself, or this community. And so this is the flip-flop side. So that's why I'm always in this confused. Yeah. But it's not easy just to drop
Well, the
people
community
either.
anchors you. If the community is
Yes. It's not easy to just drop Sally, because, I genuinely want to see her happy. But like you said the other day,
use her as, I think what you've got, again, we discussed it before, but
I know
you've got to use it for your own awakening. It's like, it's not really about you helping Sally to be happy. That's her decision. She'll be as happy as she wants to be.
Yeah.
And that's her own mind has to change. But your responsibility is to use it for your own awakening. Remember, the sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept it for himself or herself. So it's to use it for your own awakening, and use it as spiritual practice. So whenever you interact with her, if it brings up any of the ego's thoughts and emotions, you use that to look at them and release them. And then she is helping you. She's actually accelerating your awakening. She's not dragging you down. She's helping you to let go of what needs to be let go of.
Yeah, of course.
And then you have the spiritual community like here and other communities that you part of to remind you, so you don't get lost in Sally's darkness. It reminds you of the principles, so that you can face that darkness, but coming from the perspective of the light. And then use the interactions as part of your own awakening. That's the correct way to view it. And then you don't need to disconnect from her. You can interact with her, but you're doing it now from a different perspective. You're not trying to fix her. You're actually trying to awaken yourself. You see the shift is it's a subtle, but it's a profound one, isn't it?
It is.
So
It
you're
is,
going
yeah.
in at the moment saying, I want to fix Sally. No,
No, yeah,
no, your focus is wrong. I want to let go of my own ego and awaken to who I really am. So I'm going to fix Elaine through this, not Sally primarily.
yeah.
Yeah, and Sally might follow as a byproduct. Her healing and awakening might happen if you awaken yourself. That's how it works.
Yeah.
So as within, so without. But if you, from the outset, trying to fix her, you're projecting. It's a small projection. Oh, I've got to try and, fix Sally now, someone who's apparently outside of me. And that's just more projection. You're not going within and looking within, which is why it's not working.
True. Yeah.
So it's to use it for your own awakening. And a part of your mind, your ego will say, well, aren't you being terribly selfish?
Yes,
Because,
that's true.
you should be concerned about her. It's really all about Sally. But, that's where you've got to remind yourself that, no, your only job in this world is to awaken yourself. Sole responsibility of the miracle worker is to accept the at-one-ment for himself or herself. Yeshua says it. He repeats it a couple of times in the course. That's it. Because that's the truth. When you do that, then you help everyone else to the maximum possible extent. If you need to do something to help them, you will be inspired to do that from your awakened state, as Yeshua was. He went around healing and teaching and doing great good, but he had to awaken himself first. He couldn't go, oh, well, I've got to fix everyone else before I've awoken myself. No, he had to become the Christ himself first, and then he could extend it. So yeah, that's the correct approach. And then, whatever happens with her, that's what is meant to happen. You leave that in the hands of the Holy Spirit. It's not up to you. Try and direct that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to I think we've done number 3, talked about the joy. Let's go to number 4 then. The way is not hard, but it is very different.
The way is not hard, but it is very different. The way is not hard, only it is very different.
Sorry, that should be a but. For some reason, the ChatGPT substitutes only a but with only. I can't get it to stop. I think that's generally it does a good job, but it's just decided to do that for whatever reason. Anyway,
yours is the way of pain of which God knows nothing. Mine is the way of pain of which pure formless awareness of perfect love knows nothing. That way is hard indeed and very lonely. That way is hard and very lonely. Fear and grief are your guests, and they go with you and abide with you on the way. Fear and grief are my guests, and they go with me and live with me on the way. But the dark journey is not the way of God's Son. But limited awareness is not the way of perfect love's extension. Walk in light and do not seek the dark companions, for they are not fit companions for the Son of God, who has created of light and in light. I walk in true awareness and do not see the limiting thoughts and emotions, for they are not fit companions for the extension of pure formless awareness, who has created of this awareness and in this awareness.
Say he was extended. I always try and make it present tense. So his extended, created of light. The original is he was created of light and in light. who is extended created of light and in light, who is extended from this awareness and is in this awareness. That's what he means.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess one, number 7.
The great light always surrounds you and shines out from you. The great awareness always surrounds me and extends out from me. How can you see the dark companions in a light such as this? How can I experience limiting thoughts and emotions in an awareness such as this? If you see them, it is only because you are denying the light. If I experience them, it is only because I am denying my true awareness. But deny them instead, for the light is here and the way is clear. But I should deny them instead, for pure, formless awareness is here and the way is clear. On the top, the way is not hard, but it is very different. Mine is the way of pain, of which pure formless awareness of perfect love knows nothing. That way is hard indeed and very lonely. Fear and grief are my guests, and they go with me and live with me on the way. But limited awareness is not the way of perfect love's extension. I walk in true awareness and do not see the limiting thoughts and emotions, for they are not fit companions for the extension of perfect love, who is extended from this awareness and is in this awareness. The great awareness always surrounds me and extends out from me. How can I experience limiting thoughts and emotions in an awareness such as this? If I experience them, it is only because I am denying my true awareness. But I should deny them instead, for pure formless awareness is here and the way is clear. Yeah.
Okay, so what's he saying?
Well, the way that we're living is just full of pain, which pure formless awareness knows nothing of. And it's just saying that we can choose. Why not choose instead this pure formless awareness? And that's our way clear. And, walk away from this limited awareness that we're stuck in.
The way of pain, hard indeed. I think we all know what he means.
Yeah.
That slogging away, bashing your head against a brick wall, getting hurt, trying to find some way to make this world work. And in the end, it doesn't work. So I think that's the relief that, when I finally got the message of this course, it was like, oh my God, well, that's such a relief. The world doesn't work.
So
finally, someone's telling it like it is. So then the approach becomes very clear. Well, leave it behind. Exit the world. Stop trying to make it work, because that's never going to work. You finally have the way out. Just leave it behind. And otherwise, if you keep trying to make the world work, you'll stay here forever, over and over, many lifetimes. Each lifetime you're trying to make it work, and every lifetime's the same. The general story of humanity, of a human life, is the same, isn't it? Whatever the details of that particular life are. We're born, we have to learn the ways of the world. It's called growing up and being educated. Then we go through a time where we usually find someone else, a partner. Often we have kids. We have to earn a living. We have to kind of make our way in the world. We have some work to do. Then we retire, and gradually we fade away. We age, maybe get sick, and we die. That's the story over and over. That's the human story, isn't it?
Yeah.
So Yeshua's saying, but look at that story and see that it doesn't really work. Nothing is stable in it. You can't rely on any of it. It's always changing. Just when you think you've kind of got a handle on something, then it all changes, doesn't it?
It does.
Oh, I just got that right, and then okay, it's all changed now. And so you go through these phases of life. You think you've kind of cracked it when you're final year university. Oh, well, I've kind of got this university thing, and then it all changes. Now you go into another environment, and you've got to learn again. You go into a working environment, and you feel again insecure and maybe stressed, and then you go into a new job, and maybe you have a new relationship, and it's all changing all the time. How can you rely on anything? And instead, he's saying, go to the great awareness, the great light, which never changes, which is always there. You are extended in and by that, and it's always been there. Your only problem is that you've denied that awareness. I experienced the dark companions, which are really just limiting thoughts and emotions. It's only because I'm denying my true awareness. Those, negative thoughts and emotions they're called negative because they negate the truth. So that's the only purpose. So, then if you see that clearly, the answer is obvious. I should deny them instead. Deny what denies truth. Deny the denial of truth, and you'll be back in truth. So it's interesting in mathematics, you have a negative and a negative. If you multiply two negative numbers together, what do you get? A positive. Because the denial of the denial gets you back into the truth. And that's exactly what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is taking the denial, it's a denial of the negative, which you look at. Those two, although none of them are truth, they cancel each other out and they become a positive. And then you come into your true awareness. So you could say there's a mathematics behind forgiveness. I want to look at it that way. All right, so the mathematics of forgiveness. That would be a nice ebook, wouldn't it?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, right.
Well, a title would a title like The Mathematics of Forgiveness catch you? If you saw an ebook title.
Yes, you would.
It's like, oh, interesting. Mathematics of forgiveness. How does that work? Well, it's just this principle, a negative and a negative makes a positive.
It's good. Good analogy.
Cancel each other out. Yeah, exactly. So you deny the negative. Forgiveness is a denial. So it's negative, but it negates what negates the. So the negating the negative means that you're back in the truth, which is positive. And actually in mathematics, that's how it works. A negative multiplied by a negative is a positive. I never really understood that when I did because they didn't really explain it. When I did math, and you do integers. It's like, well, why does a negative make a positive? Oh, well, that's just the way it is. Math teachers don't know. That's just the way it is. Well, it's because the denial of denial makes a positive. That's why. So there's actually a spiritual underpinning to it.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so number 5. God hides nothing from his son.
God hides nothing from his son, even though his son would hide himself. Pure formless awareness of perfect love hides nothing from its extension, even though its extension would hide herself,
itself. So,
itself. Yet the Son of God cannot hide his glory, for God willed him to be glorious and gave him the light that shines in him.
we'll make glory magnificence. Okay, you want to read number
3.
number 2? No, it's still on number 2. 2 in the
Oh.
alternative.
Yeah. Yet the extension of perfect love cannot hide its magnificence, for pure formless awareness of perfect love wants it to be magnificent and gave it the true awareness that it experiences. And 3, you will never lose your way, for God leads you. I will never lose my way, for pure formless awareness of perfect love leads me. When you wander, you but undertake a journey that is not real. When I wander away from this,
No, that doesn't really work. When I wander away from this way.
Yeah.
When I wander
from
when I
pure
wander
formless.
from this path, when I wander away from this path, maybe we should say.
I but undertake a journey that is not real. The dark companions, the dark way, and all illusions. The limiting thoughts and emotions, the limited way, are all illusions. Turn toward the light, for the little spark in you is part of a light so great that it can sweep you out of all darkness forever. The limiting thoughts and turn toward the true awareness, for the little willingness in me is part of an awareness so great that it can sweep me out of all limitation and suffering forever. For your Father is your Creator, and you are like Him. For my origin is my source, and I am like it. And from the top, pure formless awareness of perfect love hides nothing from its extension, and even though its extension would hide itself, yet the extension of perfect love cannot hide its magnificence. The pure formless awareness of perfect love wants it to be magnificent and gave it the true awareness that it experiences. I will never lose my way, for pure formless awareness of perfect love leads me. When I wander away from this path, I only undertake a journey that is not real. The limiting thoughts and emotions, the limited way, are all illusions. So I will turn toward pure formless awareness, for the little willingness in me is part of an awareness so great that I can help me to transcend all limitation and suffer forever. For my source is my origin, and I am the same as it.
Okay, so what's he saying?
I was just saying this pure formless awareness hides nothing to its extension. It's the extension that hides itself. And the perfect love cannot hide its magnificence, And so pure formless awareness wants it to be magnificent and gave the true awareness that it experiences. So we're never going to lose our way in this pure formless awareness. It's just when we wander away from the path and the limiting thoughts and emotions that are all illusions. So we need to turn toward pure formless awareness with just a little willingness. And transcend all this limitation and suffering forever. Would that be nice? For my source is my origin, and I am the same as it. We just keep going back to our origin, our source. And that's all, yeah.
Yeah, and the limiting thoughts and emotions, anything that's negative, we'll say negative thoughts and emotions in their limited way are all illusions, because they negate the truth. They're called negative. Again, we just use the word negative, but what it actually means is negative. Yeah, they negate the truth. That's why they're called negative. So they are the denial of the truth, and they only exist because they deny the truth. So their entire existence is only because of their denial of truth. That's why the ego is fundamentally, its existence is fundamentally flawed. You look at yes, you see that its entire existence is predicated on the idea of the denial of God. So its entire existence is a negative existence because it negates the truth. So given that understanding, how can you expect anything the ego does to work if it's entirely negative? This is the problem. It's entirely a negative entity. The only reason it seems to exist is because we think we've denied God, or pure formless awareness of perfect love. So its existence comes out of that denial. So it is negative from the start. It's negative in order to exist. Do you see the problem? Well, if it's negative in order to exist, then how can you ever make that into something that works, into something that's true and positive? And the answer is you can't. The only way that you can deal with it is to negate the negative, negate the negative, which is what forgiveness does. Forgiveness or letting go negates the negative, which then cancels it out, nullifies it, and what's left is pure formless awareness of perfect love, which is his approach. So that's the mathematics of forgiveness. But you see, the problem is that the ego is fundamentally negative. And so you never make it work for that reason. And any attempt to try and make it work is deluded because you're not seeing it for what it really is.
Which
you're
makes
seeing it as something that can be turned into a positive. Oh, we'll kind of make this work. And that's exactly what the ego is always trying to get us to do. Oh, well, well, there's some serious problems with the thought system, serious problems with the world, no doubt. But somehow the ego is trying to convince us that somehow we can make it work. And yes, you're saying to us, give it up. You're never going to make it work. Because from the outset, its very existence is negative. Only exists because it negates the truth and what's positive. So what can you expect from such a negative entity but negative results over and over and over again? And if you look at the world, you see, well, that's why we live in such a negative world. Because it's the world that comes out of the negation of truth. And what else can you expect then but negation all over the place? The negation of love and peace and joy. And that creates a world like this. It's got nothing to do with God or anything positive. So the ego's fundamental existence is flawed. It shouldn't exist. This is what Yesh was teaching. It doesn't really exist. It only exists as long as you continue to believe in it. That's its only existence.
Yeah.
In your mind. So that's very precarious. It knows actually that its days are numbered, because you can give up believing in it if you want to. And with no host, no mind to host it and believe in it, it just ceases to exist. And all of its miscreations cease to exist as well. And that's exactly what Yesh is training us to do with his mind training. Okay, so let's go on to number 6. Children of light cannot abide in darkness.
The children of light cannot abide in darkness, for darkness is not in them. The extensions of pure formless awareness cannot live in limited awareness, for limited awareness is not in them. Do not be deceived by the dark comforters, and never let them enter the mind of God's Son, for they have no place in his temple. Do not be deceived by the limiting beliefs and painful emotions, and never let them enter the awareness of perfect love's extension, for they have no place in its extension. When you are tempted to deny him, remember that there are no other gods to place before him, and accept his will for you in peace. When I am tempted to deny the pure formless awareness of perfect love, remember that there are no other beliefs to obscure it, and accept its awareness for me in peace. For you cannot accept it otherwise, for I cannot accept it otherwise. And from the top, the extensions of pure formless awareness cannot live in negative awareness, for negative awareness is not in them. Do not be deceived by the negative beliefs and painful emotions, and never let them enter the awareness of perfect love's extension, for they have no place in its extension. When I am tempted to deny pure formless awareness of perfect love, I should remember that there are no other beliefs to obscure it, and accept its awareness for me in peace, for I cannot accept it otherwise.
Okay, from the top.
I've just read it from the top.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
You did, correct. So
it's just saying not to be
any
deceived
thoughts on
by
that?
not to be deceived by these negative beliefs and painful emotions, and never let them enter the awareness of perfect love's extension, which is me, you, for they have no place in the extension. So when we're tempted to deny pure formless awareness, we have to remember that there are no other beliefs to obscure it. So just accept its awareness and that's where the peace is. Otherwise, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I cannot accept it otherwise.
You can't accept it otherwise.
There's no, the negative beliefs, negative beliefs, painful emotions, they're not really there, although they seem to be there. So this is the illusion. They've been the cover over. They're the veil. That's when I had this mystic experience I mentioned. It was very clear when I came out of it that all the negative thoughts and emotions were just part of the veil. They were there to cover over that awareness which I just experienced. And I saw that so clear. Okay, so the whole world is there to seemingly justify the negative thoughts and emotions which are there to cover over this awareness. And that's when I really kind of understood the course. Okay, so the whole thing dropped. Okay, so we have this this negative awareness, which we've believed in, that gets projected out into a world, and the world is then used to stimulate all of those negative thoughts and emotions, which was the source of the world in the first place. So it's projection, perception, it goes round and around. And all of that is designed, all it's designed to do is to cover over our pure formless awareness of perfect love and deny it. And that's why it's called the veil, covering over that awareness. And the world and the negative thoughts and emotions are really just two sides of the same illusory coin that are used to cover over that awareness. And then I was like, oh, I get it. Like, that's what the world's about. That's what it's for. And that's really its only purpose. So Yeshua's asking us to see that very honestly and say, look at it very honestly, and you will see that that's the only purpose of the world and of the ego. It's just to negate or cover over your true awareness. So that purpose has no meaning. It doesn't have a real purpose, which is why we can't find any satisfaction in it. You know, we just keep covering over the truth, and we never be happy in that. Because you can only be happy when you accept the truth of who you are, rather than deny it. So it's very, very, very simple. What he's saying is enormously simple.
But very hard to do. Yeah.
Yeah. In a world where you're living in the denial of truth, right? So your body, your ego mind, the world that you perceive as outside of you, you are living in the denial of truth, in the product of the denial. And you've come to believe that denial so true, so fully, that you think it's the truth. So therefore you think it's reality, you think this is a real world, you think that you're already here. And we've got so far down that rabbit hole of the lie that now to awaken from that is seemingly quite huge. So fundamental change of mind, change of identity, change of our whole reality. Our entire reality just completely turns around when you awaken. You wake up from the dream and you just leave the dream behind. So it's pretty radical stuff. You know, this isn't like a minor shift. Oh, we're just going to make the world a little bit better. No, it's like you're going to leave the entire world behind and go to an entirely different reality that has nothing whatsoever to do with this world, where none of the laws of this world apply at all. And your separate self and your body and any of your special relationships and any of your worldly problems and fears and desires and whatever else goes on here, sickness and pain and suffering and death, none of that exists. Totally different awareness. So when you kind of start to grasp this, it can be like, whoa, this is big, you know, like, whoa, this is like enormous, so huge.
Yeah. Well, it is.
Yeah, it's because it's just totally, you know, radical. But then if you pause on reflection, go, well, is there any other approach that's really going to work? What is trying to fix this world up and patch up a broken world? Is that really going to work? Have any of my attempts to do that really worked? If you're honest with yourself, they haven't. And no one's have. No, humanity's been trying for thousands of years to fix a broken world. We've invented all kinds of technologies and social systems and financial systems and, you know, everything that we see today to try and fix a broken world and somehow make it work, haven't we?
Yeah.
And yet, does it really work?
No.
Not really. To be honest, have we eliminated pain and suffering and old age and sickness and death? Have any of our technologies done that? No, they haven't. So they failed. The ego has failed dismally, and yet somehow we keep believing in it, keep trying to somehow make this world work. And this course is really saying, give it up, stop. You know, unless we stop that futile attempt, we'll just carry on the hamster wheel. We'll go around and around, in this lifetime, in another lifetime, come back for as many lifetimes as you want, and you're just on the hamster wheel. Every lifetime you're on the same hamster wheel, going round and around, exhaust yourself. Eventually you die, and then you come back as another hamster, and you do it all over again. And he's just going, you got to look at it and see it for what it is. Really be brutally honest with yourself, which is hard to do initially, kind of, because your ego doesn't like it at all. And then, many people shy away from the course when they really start seeing the enormity of it. They can shy away from it, go, no, I don't want to know it anymore. Throw their course books away, they tear them up, they burn them, because they're trying to deny what's awoken in them. It's too shocking. But you can't. It's like, once you know this, you can't go back, can you? You can't go back into your unaware state.
Yeah.
But like, you remember Cypher, the character in The Matrix? He was going, no, I don't like being awakened, so I'm going to go back. I'm not going to remember. I'm not going to remember a goddamn thing. And isn't that interesting? Because it's goddamn. They're very clever with the language. God, because that's the damnation of God. And the forgetting of God. But actually, he would have, if he'd gone back. He couldn't have ever been happy, could he? Because you can't forget. You can't forget the truth. Couldn't unknow what he'd known. There would have always been a sense of, it's just not right. I don't know. So they could have given him he wanted to be a movie star. They could have given him that, but he would have been an unhappy movie star. Because he would have been like, I'm not comfortable, because he's not in the truth. He would have known it. So there's only, one way out, and that's to accept the truth and deny the negation of the truth. Deny the denial of truth, and you're back in the truth. That's what forgiveness is, and that's what it does. Okay, only God's comforter. Number 7, let's crack on. 2 more to go.
Only God's comforter can comfort you. In the quiet, and the alternative.
Yeah.
Only perfect love's comforter can comfort me. So let's see there, strength. Yeah. In the quiet of his temple, he waits to give you the peace that is yours. In the quiet of its extension, it waits to give me the peace that is mine. Give his peace that you may enter the temple and find it waiting for you. Give its peace that I may be the extension and find peace waiting for me. But be holy in the presence of God, or you will not know that you are there. But be wholly aware in the presence of perfect love, or I can't see. I will not know what I am. I am there. And for what is unlike God cannot enter his mind, because it was not his thought and therefore does not belong to him. For what is unlike pure formless awareness of perfect love cannot enter its awareness, because it was not its awareness and therefore does not belong to it. And your mind must be as pure as his, if he would know what belongs to you. And my awareness must be as pure as its, if I would know what belongs to me. Seven, can't see it. Guard carefully his temple, for he himself dwells there and abides in peace. Need to lift it up. Be vigilant of intrusions on your true awareness. The pure formless awareness of perfect love dwells there. Perfect love dwells there and lives in peace.
Yeah.
Yeah. You cannot enter God's presence with the dark companions beside you, but you also cannot enter alone. I cannot be aware of perfect love's presence with limiting beliefs and painful emotions in my awareness. Only I cannot be truly aware alone. What does it mean by that? I cannot be truly aware alone.
Yeah, I also cannot be truly aware alone, but you also cannot enter alone. What do you mean? So accepting them as being truly aware, I cannot be truly aware. And then so he's talking about our companions. Read number 9, and you'll see.
Okay. All your brothers must enter with you, for until you have accepted them, you cannot enter. All my companions must come to the same awareness with me, for until I've accepted them as being truly aware, I cannot be truly aware myself. And for you cannot understand wholeness unless you are whole. And no part of the Son can be excluded if he would know the wholeness of his Father. For I cannot understand wholeness unless I am whole. But no part of the extension of perfect love can be excluded if it would know the wholeness of its source. So it's just saying that our only comforter is perfect loves. And in the quiet of its extension, it waits to give me peace. That is 9. What is unlike pure formless awareness of perfect love cannot enter its awareness because it was never its awareness and therefore does not belong to it. So we have to be vigilant for intrusions on this true awareness, perfect love. So we can't be in this awareness with negative beliefs and painful emotions, but I also cannot be truly aware alone. So our companions must come to the same awareness. And until we've accepted them as being truly aware, I cannot be truly aware myself. So we can't understand wholeness unless we're whole ourselves. So no extension is excluded.
Yeah, so as I perceive them, I perceive myself. If I see them as broken and fragmented,
Right.
I must perceive myself as that as well.
Sally's an example.
Yeah, exactly. You perceive her, although she's demonstrating that to you, because she's in her ego, what she's demonstrating to you is false. It's not her true self. It's a false belief system. So are you going to believe that or not? So your job becomes to deny the denial of truth. She's denying the truth, so you must deny that denial And you must perceive that underneath all of this, just a veil of illusion that she's using to cover her true awareness. But you can be aware of that awareness even though she's not. And if you can hold that awareness for her, you then hold the light for her, and you offer her the opportunity to come back to the light of her true awareness through your example. That's how healing works. But if you get lost in the darkness with her because you sympathize with her, yo, shame, poor you, and you make the darkness real, then you're not holding the light for her. So she's got nowhere to come back to. You're just drowning with her in the darkness.
Yeah.
So it's critical that you maintain your vigilance. Say, okay, I know this is just an illusion. As strong as it may be, the ego can be incredibly strong and persistent, can't it?
Yeah.
As strong as it may seem to be, it's not true. That's the only correction you need to make. None of it is true. The character that she believes she is, the sickness that she's gone through, all the pain that she's causing herself, the depression, none of it is true. It's just a denial of the truth, which must be denied in order for you to remain sane. So I cannot understand wholeness unless I'm whole. No part of the extension of perfect love can be excluded. It wants to know the wholeness of its source. I can exclude. I cannot understand wholeness unless I'm whole, and I cannot exclude. Let's say this. So in your perception, if you exclude her from the wholeness, then you make the same mistake as her.
Yeah.
And that's why it doesn't feel good when you do it.
Yeah, that's true.
So it requires a lot of vigilance, which is then your forgiveness. Vigilance is the awareness that allows you to forgive and let it go. And restore your mind to wholeness, despite the example of the apparent presence of this fragmented, sick mind. You simply deny it and recognize that wholeness is still there. Immediately in your awareness. And then you hold that wholeness, that light for her. So you keep it safe for her, so when she's ready, she can come back to it. She might not be ready now, but maybe there will become a time when she will be.
Yeah.
In the meantime, your job is to be the keeper of the wholeness, to stay in the light of your true awareness, no matter what darkness she demonstrates. So it's just an advanced forgiveness lesson, which, if you can learn it, will awaken you to who you really are. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Move on to number 8. I think this is the last one. The last one. Let's just see. Yeah, last one. Short paragraph.
In your mind, you can accept the whole sonship and bless it with the light your Father gave it. In my mind, I can accept the whole extension and bless it with the true awareness my source gave it. Then you will be worthy to dwell in the temple with him, because it is your will not to be alone. Then I will be worthy to be in the state of pure formless awareness, because it is my will not to be alone. God blessed his Son forever. Pure formless awareness of perfect love blessed its extension forever. If you will bless him in time, you will be in eternity. If I bless its extension in time, I will be in eternity. Time cannot separate you from God if you use it on behalf of the eternal. Time cannot separate me from pure formless awareness of perfect love if I use it on behalf of the eternal. On the top, in my mind, I can accept the whole extension and bless it with the true awareness my source gave it. Then I will be worthy to be in the state of pure formless awareness, because it is my will not to be alone. Pure formless awareness of perfect love, blessed its extension forever. If I will bless its extension in time, I will be in eternity. Time cannot separate me from pure formless awareness of perfect love if I use it on behalf of the eternal.
Okay, what's he saying here?
Well, in our mind, we can accept the whole extension and bless it with our true awareness that our sources gave us. So then we'll be in the state of pure formless awareness, because it wills us not to be alone. It's saying that this pure formless awareness will bless its extension forever. Or it'll bless it in eternity. It's saying time cannot separate us from pure formless awareness of perfect love if I use it on behalf of the eternal, which I guess is now, this moment.
Approximation to eternity in this world is now.
Yeah.
It's only ever now. That's the truth of the matter. So it's only ever the eternal now state. So that's why the now, being in the present moment, is so important in spiritual teachings, because it connects you with eternity. There's no time. Right now, if I'm in my true awareness, there's no time. I'm just aware. There's no thoughts of the past. There's no thoughts of the future. So through the now, I come to, in this world, I come to the awareness of eternity. A never-changing state of awareness. That's all eternity is. An unchanging state of pure formless awareness is the eternity. Time and change are integrally related, aren't they? How do we measure time? Things change. Okay, so this happened, and then a change, and then this happened, more change, this happened. Oh, okay, so now we can measure the apparent linear sequence of this happened, and then this happened, this happened. Okay, but actually, that's all illusion. It's all part of the construct of the denial of love, leads to this illusion of, oh, this happens and this happens and this happens, and it all unfolds in time. Actually, it's always just now. And all these happenings in time and linear time isn't true, because it's always just now. And that pure state of awareness is actually unaffected by anything that seems to go on in time. So he's saying, well, use time for what it's for. Use it on behalf of the eternal. Well, to use time on behalf of the eternal means you must be fully present. You go into the now moment and you stay there and you're fully present, then there's no time. Then you're using time on behalf of the eternal, i.e. you remain in the eternal now moment throughout time. And that connects you with the eternal, which eventually will take you out of time. So you got to get used to living outside of time, even while you seem to be in it. Do you see that?
Yeah.
You can't expect the end of your life to suddenly go, oh, well, I've lived my whole life in the past and the future, and suddenly I'll just get it and I'll go into the state of pure formless awareness and not be thinking about the past or the future when I've thought about that my entire life. It's not going to happen, is it?
No.
You have to start training your mind to think this way while you seemingly here, which is where the mind training comes in, so that you're ready to accept the state of pure formless awareness. Yeah, I don't need linear time anymore. I don't need things to change. In fact, I want them not to change. That's the whole point.
Mm.
An unchanging state of perfect peace is what I want. Not this, changeable, shifting, changing reality that the ego's invented. No desire for that anymore. We see through the illusion of time that it's actually it's not what we want at all. Time means that you're guaranteed to change. There's no stability here. You're guaranteed to age, guaranteed is to suffer, and guaranteed to die. That's what time means. So who in their right mind would then believe in time if that's the case?
Mm.
Wouldn't, would you?
Mm.
All right, so just read the summary
Mm-hmm.
to wrap this all up.
I acknowledge that when I feel weary, it's a result of my own actions that diverge from the path of pure formless awareness, perfect love. This weariness stems from my belief in separation and the resulting pain, which is inherently alien to the nature of perfect love. Love, the comforter, the comfort of remembrance of perfect love, offers me rest and peace, although I struggle to accept this relief on my own.
Okay, so what's he saying there in summary?
Well, we're acknowledging how we feel and how weary we are, and it's a result of our own actions, because we've gone off the path from perfect love. And it all stems from the belief in separation and the resulting pain, which is alien to the perfect love. So the comfort of the remembrance of perfect love offers us rest and peace, although we do struggle to accept this relief on our own.
Yeah, that's the whole problem, because we think we're on our own. We really believe that we're on our own. That's the delusion, isn't it? I'm on my own. I'm alone. I'm on my own. I'm doing this all on my own. No, how can you be if you are one with this awareness? How can you be separated from it and be on your own? It's not possible. It's not a delusion. It's just a delusion that you're on your own. And then that delusion is self-reinforcing, because now it's more difficult to do anything because you think you're on your own. Well, what can I do on my own? Very little. I feel disempowered. I feel a victim. But that's all just an illusion. So we get caught up in the illusion, which disempowers us, and we get caught up in our own negative thought, caught up in a problem of our own making. And that's the bizarre situation of the world. Hang on, you made the problem, you got yourself into the prison, and now you've forgotten how you did it, thrown away the key, and now you think you're actually imprisoned. But actually you did it to yourself. So you just got to remember how you did it, and then you can free yourself. And that's exactly what this course is doing. It's helping us to remember what we did and how we did it, so that we can free ourselves. Okay, so next one is the extension of perfect love.
As the extension of perfect love, I am meant to reside in a state of unity and wholeness, yet I often feel isolated, even among companions. This perceived loneliness is a contradiction to the will of pure formless awareness, which intends for me to experience connection and wholeness in moments of true awareness. When I recognize myself as an integral part of perfect love, I am capable of transcending the bleakness of the material world, filling my heart with immense joy and peace.
Yeah, what's he saying here?
Well, it's saying that with us not living in our true self, we end up feeling isolated even amongst our companions, and feel lonely.
Yeah,
So,
which is the this is the modern, along with stress, the loneliness, but they go hand in hand. Feeling lonely and abandoned then feeds the stress, because if you feel alone, then you feel fearful. Fear is essentially the same as stress.
yeah,
Then you feel fearful and like you can't cope because you're alone. But the illusion that you're alone is just that, it's an illusion.
yeah,
And you get caught up in this illusion. Fighting illusions, you get stuck in the prison of the illusion, when actually the truth is within you. You're not alone. You never were alone. You haven't been abandoned in a cruel world. It's just a delusion. Okay, next one. The path to this realization is not difficult.
the path to this realization is not difficult, yet it is distinct from the path of pain and separation I have known. As I walk in true awareness, I am urged to disregard limiting beliefs and the emotional burdens that accompany them. My true path is illuminated by the extension of the great awareness that envelops and proceeds from me, challenging the presence of any limiting thoughts or emotions. So it's just saying that this path of realization isn't actually difficult, but it is distinct from the path of pain and separation that we've all known. So when we walk in this true awareness, we're urged to get rid of these limiting beliefs and emotional burdens. It's just saying that our true path is limited by the extension of the great awareness, challenging the presence of any limiting thoughts and emotions.
Yeah.
Oh, bless you.
Thank you. Okay, happy with that?
Yeah, I am constantly guided by pure formless awareness of perfect love, and when I stray, it is merely a detour into the unreal. The illusions of pain and limitation are stark contrast to the true awareness I am endowed with, and a reflection of my divine origin.
Yeah. So even if we go into the darkness, we've all done it. It's just a little detour off the path, but we can get back on the path. Yeah, we just need to correct our course. So ideally, with this spiritual practice, if you go off course and you're practicing regularly, you can't go very far off course, can you?
No.
Because you're correct. You start going off course and you practice lessons and you're reading text, it brings you back into your right mind. You go, hang on. It's like, what am I doing? So the regular practice means you can't go very far off course. It's a bit like, in, the analogy is in the airline industry, when they're flying a plane, it goes off course a lot because there's a crosswind, or so it'll go a little degree off course, and then it's a correction. And the instruments go, okay, you're slightly off course, correct, and brings it back. And that's happening all the time. It goes slightly off course, course correct. And now with modern instruments, that's happening almost instantly, I imagine. It's like, just corrects it. So it never goes very far off course at all, because there's the system to monitor. Okay, you're off course, go back. Well, that's exactly what our spiritual practice is. To, you know, the system that monitors it goes, oh, okay, you're off course now, come back. And return to your true awareness. And that's what, you know, a regular spiritual practice does. If you don't do regular spiritual practice, you can go way off course. You look at some people's lives, they go horribly off course because there's nothing to stop them. So they just carry on. Going down a track can be incredibly painful, self-destructive, hurting others, hurting themselves. And, you know, they don't have an awareness to say, hang on, like, what are you doing? Just like stop. You know? So this can be life-saving. I mean, I remember going through serious difficulty when I came to England about 10 years ago. You know, it's just like, what am I doing? And the fear and the anger and the rage. If I hadn't had a spiritual practice, I might well have done something that I regretted for the rest of my life. But the spiritual practice, it's like, no, there was a discipline to say no. You know, although you're experiencing these things, do not give in to them. Do not give in to the impulse to attack. Although it's there, there's an awareness that's going, no, you've got to hold on to the truth no matter what. Because if you go there and you listen to the ego and you act on its insane impulses, then you are giving yourself over to it. And then, of course, the consequences will then be egoic, and you're going to suffer those consequences.
Yeah.
So, you know, spiritual practice can be life-saving. And spare you so much pain. You don't have to go into these illusions of pain and limitation very much. You go slightly off course, you start going, oh, bit of pain, suffering. Okay, recognize it's an illusion, and let it go. So that it doesn't dwell. And the kind of thing that's happened to your friend Sally doesn't happen. She didn't have anything to correct it. Okay, hang on. Like, what am I doing? I've been depressed for a day. What am I doing? Let me do some practice and let's get out of it. And let's spend some time meditating and let's connect with like-minded friends and you know, let's pull myself out of this. But without that vigilance, then you just go more into it. Oh well, then she just, you know, one error becomes another. And then she, interestingly, she's disconnected herself from other people.
Yeah.
So
Well, I was
I'm
afraid.
on my own. That's the illusion. I'm on my own. I'm separated and alone.
Well, I mean, we were good friends. She doesn't, I mean, just won't meet up with me or, just
Well,
strange,
that's
cut
how the
off.
mind works. You see the illusion of separation and alienation, and then all of the dysfunction go hand in hand. The more separated we feel, the more dysfunctional we are. That's how it works. The separation is a delusion. Okay. So we've done that and constantly guided. So last one, second last one, there's a key message. Maintaining vigilance.
In maintaining vigilance over my true awareness, I affirm my inseparability from pure formless awareness. This vigilance helps ensure that my experiences align with the divine will, which seeks to envelop me with all my companions in a shared, transcendent awareness. This collective journey towards true awareness is essential, for only together can we fully realize the wholeness that mirrors our divine source. So it's asking us to be vigilant for this true awareness and keep affirming that the inseparability from it. So we need to be vigilant to ensure that the experiences align with pure formless awareness and to share this with our companions.
Yeah. And then again, he brings in the idea of our companions. He does that a lot. Okay, so it's your own journey, but it's everyone's journey. You know, the enlightenment is a collective journey back to the source. It has to be, because there's only one awareness. There's one awareness, even in the ego. You know, the ego is one thought of separation, really. So although it's fragmented into multiple different parts, and we think we have, you know, individual identities, it's actually just one idea of separation. And we all share that idea. So the return is shared by everyone as well. Every seemingly fragmented mind that believes in separation is part of the enlightenment process, returning the whole mind that's seemingly separated back to God. When you understand that, then you understand I'm not alone. We're all on the same path. We're all on the same journey, in the same boat, going to the same destination. So how can I be separate or alone from anyone? It's a shared journey. And whether people acknowledge it or not, everyone's on that journey. Many people don't acknowledge what the true purpose of their life is, which is to awaken to who they really are, and the reality of their true self and God. But even if they don't acknowledge it now, they will come to eventually. We're all on the same journey, whether you like it or not, because the curriculum is set. He says to us in the introduction, you know, the curriculum is set. You can't set that curriculum. That's beyond what you can set. You can only choose to accept it or not. You know, follow the curriculum or don't. Free will does not mean that you can choose the curriculum. It means only that you can elect to take what you want to of that curriculum at a given time. So the truth is true. When you'll learn the truth is up to you. Okay, so last key message, just to summarize the whole thing in one paragraph. You can read that.
I believe I am on my own because I believe in the limiting beliefs and painful emotions my limited awareness or ego has sponsored, but my only function is to let these beliefs and emotions go, stay rooted in the state of pure formless awareness, and see other people in the same state. When I do this, I am using time on behalf of the eternal and escaping from my apparent existence in time.
Yeah.
Well, we think we're on our own and believe in these negative beliefs and painful emotions from our separate self. But our only function is to let these beliefs and emotions go and stay rooted in this pure formless awareness and see other people as the same. So when we do this, we're using time on behalf of the eternal, escaping from the apparent existence in time.
Yeah. And that's the way out. Be in the eternal now, be in the state of pure awareness. Even when other people aren't, there's not many people in this state. Most people believe in the ego. So you're in the world of the ego, which is the denial of truth. But your only job in that world is to deny that denial. So whenever you face these negative states, maybe in someone else, as with your friend Sally, but then it's triggering your own negative state. It seems to be outside you, but it actually just triggers your own negativity to arise. So your only response to that must be, as the miracle worker, to deny that, because it's all untrue. You deny that denial of truth, and you return to the truth, and you remain in that truth, no matter what. No matter what Sally says or does, you remain rooted in the truth. That's your practice.
Yeah.
Not easy, because it's a direct denial. You see, the This is what the Course is teaching us. It's the one negates the other. The ego denies the Holy Spirit and truth entirely, and you know, vice versa. So you have to confront these illusions directly and say, well, they're not real. There's no other way of doing it. The compassionate forgiveness, well, it's real, but I'll try and mitigate the effects of it through, you know, thinking something like, well, that the person is doing the best they can and they're suffering themselves. You know, that's not really going to cut it ultimately. It's only the straight denial of it, saying, no, it's just not real. It just doesn't even exist. And that's a direct, you know, directly confronting the ego, looking at it and then denying. That's the only way out of the dream. That makes sense.
It does. It does. Mm-hmm.
No. So let's just keep doing that whenever the opportunities, and you should welcome the opportunities. Oh, great. Another illusion, another opportunity to do forgiveness and to unwind my ego, to undo my ego. Great. I welcome them, because this is how I get out. You got to learn to say, bring it on. Okay. No. And the tougher the challenge, the better. Okay. Well, I'm really being triggered by this. Okay. That's great. Because this is exactly how I'll awaken. Then the Holy Spirit reinterprets it very quickly and says, that's good. Okay, so let's work with this. Let's work through this now. Because this will lead to, you know, the more you get triggered, the more that you awaken when you let it go. That's how it works. So that, you know, the greater the pain and the suffering and the trauma that it seems to cause you, the greater the trigger, in other words, the more release there is when you let it go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we've got to learn to perceive everything. And then we're being vigilant for the truth and not the illusion. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else I think good section.
Yeah.
How to
very
move from
good.
darkness to light. Very simple. Move away from the dark thoughts, negative thoughts and emotions, deny them, move back into true awareness, and hold that awareness for all of your companions. Even if they don't know it themselves, you can still hold that awareness in any interaction with them. And then you're holding the light and you're extending the light to them, even though they don't know it. And that's the best you can do. Yeah, so practice, you know, practice applying this to all of your interactions with your friends, Sally. And obviously anything else. So that sounds like a major forgiveness lesson in your life at the moment.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Elaine.
Yeah, thank you.
Good session. And yeah, so we won't do a session tomorrow.
No, Sunday or Monday. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can do Monday.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll see you Monday afternoon.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Okay.
Okay. Have a nice weekend. Namaste.
All right, you too. Namaste.
Bye. Bye.
Bye for now. Okay, so that's a wrap for today and for a couple of days. We'll break until Monday. So if you'd like to know more, go to lifepool.com. You can sign up to our Telegram group, get some of the material I shared, a daily quote and an inspiration, some message on that, inspirational message on that, and a lesson, course lesson with a meditation, short mini meditation that I'll be practicing all for free. Go to lifepool.com, sign up. You can also hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this content and you'd like to be notified whenever I go live, which is 5 or 6 days a week. So I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching or listening, and namaste. Which means the true healed self in me, the awakened self in me, acknowledges and honors that same true awakened self in you.